die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Primed and Lubed for this beautiful spring day of, do I go March? Yes, March 30th. This is episode 22 of this season, season number 4 that I have started. And it's the best time of the year, guys. The absolute best time of the year. Why, you ask? Well, we're going into spring. Yesterday being Saturday, well, here in Vernon, not so much in Edmonton. I know you guys are still dealing with some not so favorable weather. But yesterday, a beautiful, amazing, gorgeous day. Spent about 3 hours in the backyard, just vegging, listening to some music, drinking a few beers, and just relaxing. I think it's the first time I've relaxed on a Saturday in several years, actually, to be honest with you. So it was really, really nice. And not only that, right around the corner, the Stanley Cup playoffs as we enter the final month of the 24-25 season in a few days here, a few more weeks, and that's it. Playoff time. Let's go. Let's get it on. Lots to talk about on this episode, as you can see the ticker. With Tortorella getting fired. Brad Marchand. I just can't get used to him in red. But yeah, that's another thing, another story to talk about, and we'll be talking about that when we get into that. All the Oiler conversation, the highs, the lows. Leo hits 50. First to hit 50. So a big salute to Leon Draisaitl for that amazing effort. And it's good to see him back from injury. Now we just need to see McDavid back. We'll get Evander Kane. Klingberg, I think he's been hovering around. Ekholm. And of course, our new guy, and I can't think of his name right now, but you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, hopefully we get healthy. My only concern is some of these players haven't played well. Like Kane hasn't played all year, so hopefully they'll gel because it's going to be likely another first round matchup with the LA Kings. I'm going to stop yammering on. We're going to get on with the show here. But before I get into the show, if you are enjoying the content that I deliver and have yet to subscribe, please do so, as it will help grow the channel. Also, you may want to click on that reminder because on Sundays, my times vary. I come on once a week. Playoffs, I'm going to be thinking about potentially doing something a little bit different during the playoffs. I may come on after every game, the night after. So I'm debating it still. I don't know how I want to do the playoff format yet, but right now I do it once a week. But it varies. Sometimes I come on at 11, sometimes I come on at 7. It just depends what my day entices of, as I am a fairly busy guy. Let's get into the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars game that took place. This would have been Wednesday night. Yeah, it was Wednesday and Thursday and Saturday that they played. It was a Wednesday night game. And the Oilers actually didn't do that bad, but they really, really, really started off very horribly in the first 2 periods, to the point that I basically gave up on them going into the third, but they rallied. They made an effort of it, and I was surprised to see the outcome after it was all done and said. That being said, there was some stuff I did not like by the Dallas Stars team, and I get back into my bitching and moaning about dirty teams. Dallas Stars, that comes to mind. I mean, they ran Rantanen, ran over Skinner there, and then they tried to run over Picard a little bit later. I mean, I don't like seeing that kind of play. I was very against it. and I'm starting to think Dallas might be the dirtiest team in the league right now. But that's just my perspective. Anyway, this game would start off in the first period with Wyatt Johnson getting his 27th from Jamie Benn and Thomas Harley at 14:26. It would be the only goal of the period. In the second period, Dallas would put on the throttle and hammer the Oilers. And this is where I thought, this game is over. Robinson would get his 30th from Hines and Rantanen. Then Robinson would get his 31st from Hines. And then Robinson would get the natural hat trick on the power play from Harley and Hintz. So it was the Jason Robinson show in the second period. And we have a 4-0 game going into the third period. And at this point in time, it's a weekday. I work very early. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like, shut it off. I'll catch the highlights later. And I kind of wish I would have watched the whole game, because in the third period, the Oilers would make an effort at rallying, as Corey Perry would get his 16th on the power play, Henrique would get his 10th, and Zach Hyman would make it close with 18:35 in the game, so a minute and 25 seconds left. He would make it somewhat close, and it was just a little too much, whatever you want to, however you want to coin it, but a little too late in the game for the Oilers to rally back in this one. As far as some of the other statistics go, Edmonton, like I looked at these stats and I'm like, wow, like Edmonton outplayed Dallas in this game. I'm not even joking when I say that. 44-24, the shots on goal led in favor of Edmonton. 22-9, the hits led in favor of Edmonton. 51.6 on the faceoff dot. That's an okay one, but it's not a crushing decision like the first two stats. The power play, the Oilers were 2 for 6. Penalty kill, they killed 2 of the 3. Block shots. This is where Dallas really excels at. This is the one area that the Oilers need to work on, this statistical aspect, because it's the one stat that I noticed since I do this every week. It's the one stat that is very consistent. Oilers usually lose at. Dallas blocking 20 of 12 shots, and it was a split as far as the giveaways go. And the save percentage went to Stuart Skinner at a lowly 810. But that being said, I mean, again, it's a little bit of both, and we know when our superstars are in the lineup, the defense is definitely amplified to a certain degree. The good numbers, bad numbers, the 3 good numbers and 3 bad numbers that I have are, for the bad, yet another injury, Stuart Skinner. So it just keeps mounting and mounting and mounting with the injuries. And he would not actually fly out on the road trip to Seattle. The Oilers were 2 for 6 on the power play. Again, the power play is not doing good. It's going to be interesting when I do the rig report next week at what has changed since the last rig report, because I think there's going to be a few ones that they actually excelled at and a few ones that they dropped back at. It's going to be interesting when I do that, and it will be for next week's episode. Henrique and Ekholm were both a -2. Now for the positives, okay? Multi-point games for Perry, Henrique, and Bouchard. All right, so that's something to be happy about. Oilers out-hit the Stars 22-9. And the reason why I'm giving the cheer button on that one is they are usually losing that stat, but they're not dominant in that stat. Never do I see them dominate that particular stat. So kudos to them. And Max Jones led the team with 4 hits. As far as the Stars go, Jason Robinson, obviously the natural hat trick, 3 goals. Corey Perry, 1 goal, 1 assist. And surprisingly, they gave 2 stars to the Edmonton Oilers in this one, as Adam Henrique would get 1 goal and 1 assist in this one, which is kind of surprising. But there you have it. That was the outcome of that particular game. And then the Oilers would end up going to Seattle, and not so good, but we'll get into that shortly. First, we're going to dive into some of the stories going around the league, as it would be a very interesting debut for Brad Marchand, as he actually assisted on the overtime winner and helped his new Panthers to victory. But I have to admit, I had this game on the telly, and it's odd. It's odd seeing Brad Marchand wearing the Panther colors. I don't know. It's odd. It's odd seeing any other color than the brown and yellow or black and yellow that they wear in Boston. It's different. I've seen a lot of players get traded over the years, but this one really stands out. It just doesn't feel right. It really doesn't. So anyway, he would set up Sam Bennett in overtime to get the assist that capped a 2-1 win over Utah in his debut. John Torts, he's canned. He's fired again, and I'm going to be surprised if he coaches another team. I just think that style of coaching just doesn't exist anymore. We don't live in the era of do it my way or hit the highway kind of mentality. Coaching has to be. We live in a different world of coaching. It's not an aggressive style and push. Like I know from my employment history. I know there was days where I was working where I was pushed and then you'd go home miserable and pissed off and all that. Those days don't exist anymore. When you coach and mentor people now, you're doing a soft approach at saying, hey, these are the things you need to work on, and these are the things that you suck at. But you're not really saying that you suck at. You're just saying you just need to work at it. Everything's soft now. We're in a soft world. So I do like a hard stance from time to time, but I don't like a permanent hard stance. And I think that kind of coaching is probably no longer going to be in the NHL. I'll be surprised if Torts finds another job. I will be surprised for an NHL team. I'm sure he's going to find a professional job somewhere in Europe, but I just can't see him being in the NHL anymore. And a very touching moment when the Washington Capitals were in Minnesota and they took on the Wild. And I think, I'm not sure if Marc-Andre Fleury played in this game or if he had a backup role. But after the game, Ovechkin, as the players were already heading off the ice, Ovechkin went over to the bench and called his players back and said, hey, guys, come back out. We got to honor Fleury. Those two went to war so many times over the years. Very touching moment. I'll be honest, I was like, right on. Like, that's cool. When you see that, that's cool. Because those guys did go to war. Pittsburgh and Washington hated each other like a few years ago. You'd always hear Crosby versus Ovechkin. You'd always hear the stories leading up to it. So for Ovechkin to do this classy move, he's a classy guy, and he's going to be breaking that record here, maybe even this week. We'll see. I'll be tuning into all the Washington Capital games going forward just to witness it. And I think that's all I got for Around the League for this week. And a touching move. I thought it was great. I'm really happy that Ovi had the chance to do that and that, because they did. They battled really hard. Speaking of battling hard, or lack of battling hard, Thursday night, the Edmonton Oilers, Seattle Kraken, shitty ass performance. Simple, like brutal. Disgusting, embarrassing game, and the Oilers will drop a dud every now and then. Every team does, and this was one of them. As the Seattle Kraken on their home ice absolutely embarrassed the Oilers by a count of 6-1. Was not impressed at all, considering the Seattle Kraken are seventh in the Pacific, with, you know, with a record of 31, 37, and 6. And, they're not playoff bound. They're not going to make the playoffs. And for them to smash the Oilers, it made me really think, holy crap. Like, you don't have McDavid, you don't have Draisaitl, you don't have a team. And it really made me think. Let's get into this. I want to quickly wrap this one up because I was not impressed with this game at all. No first period goals. Second period, the Kraken opened fire. 5 unanswered goals. Jaden Schwartz, his 22nd on the power play from McCann and Burakovsky at 118. 324, Jaden Schwartz will get his 23rd unassisted. At 10:50, Jay Nyman would get his 3rd from Vince Dunn and Larson. At 11:06, Beniers would get his 18th from Capo Caco and Nyman. And then to cap off the second period to make it 5-0, at 12:41, Andre Burakovsky would get his 8th, and the game was over. The game was absolutely over at this time. Picard was barely even making an effort to make some of these saves. The last 2 goals, he barely made an effort. It was gross. It was absolutely disgusting to see, and they get have to do it, man. That was a shitty game. Very horrible game. Zach Hyman would get 1 goal in the third period to make it 5-1. And then McCann would make it 6-1 to cap it. And it was ugly. It was an ugly, ugly game. The Oilers did not come ready. The Oilers did not come prepared. And that's all I'm going to talk about that one because it was ugly. Now we're going to get into the stats here, which are just as ugly as can be. Okay, so the shots on goal were split 37-37, so no one led that way. Hits 26-15 for the Oilers, so Oilers were out hitting them. Oilers were horrible on the dot at 56.7 for Seattle. 0 for 4 on the power play. On the penalty kill, they killed off 3 of the 4, which isn't too bad, but the power play, still stifling. And it's going to be, like I say, when I do the rig report next Sunday, it's going to be interesting to see where the power play stats are. Block shots, 17-5 for the Seattle Kraken. Giveaways, 22-16 the Kraken. The save percentage, now I do have both goalies in here because Olivier Rodrigue actually played a few minutes in this game because Picard was so awful. And he was. I'm not going to say that, defense was... No, I'm not going to save his butt on this one. That was an awful performance. 828 save percentage for him and an 875 for Olivier Rodrigue. Just not a good night for the goaltenders. And I'm not going to fault Olivier Rodrigue being thrown into the fire like that. So this one really lies on Picard for this one. But he did step it up against Calgary. So once we get into that, we'll get into that. Some more of the good and bad numbers. The bad, 5 unanswered goals in the second period, like I said. Arvidsson, Podkolzin were both a -3, and no plus players for the Edmonton Oilers in this game. The good, after 60, it was over. Happy to say that after 60 minutes, I finally got to finish watching that disgrace of a game. Podkolzin 6 hits, Olivier Rodrigue 7 saves in his call-up debut. So I'll give Rodrigue a little bit of the only good thing that came out of that game. And yeah, it was ugly. It was ugly, and it was definitely a learning lesson for the Oilers, and hopefully they did. The stars for this game, obviously go to Seattle. Jaden Schwartz, 2 goals. Andre Burakovsky, a goal and assist. Jared McCann, 1 goal, 1 assist. Brutal, brutal effort. Thank God I'm done that. Okay, let's move on to... where are we going now? Okay, we're just going to dive right into last night's game on Hockey Night in Canada, the Battle of Alberta. Edmonton Oilers versus Calgary Flames. Over the years, it's had kind of some moments of of, of vigor and fight, and then a lot of dry moments compared to the 80s when it was just awesome every night to watch a Edmonton Oilers and Calgary Flame game when they were the two best teams in the league and they hated each other. Oh, was it good. We get our moments. We had our moments with Zach Cassian, ragdolling Tkachuk a few years ago, and what was it, Cam Talbot when he played for Calgary fighting Mike Smith, which is kind of odd because Mike Smith was the goalie of Calgary. Cam Talbot was a goalie of Edmonton. And now they basically flip jerseys and they're fighting each other, which is kind of unique. But this game it didn't really have that intensity or that fighting, but it was a good game. And I was actually very happy with the way the Oilers played. Let's get into that right now. All right. Can I get that? So the Edmonton Oilers would win this one 3-2 in overtime. And the storyline of this game, 100%, is Leon Draisaitl's return. He came back from an injury after missing a little over a week, and end up being a factor on every single Edmonton Oilers goal in this particular game. Not only that, he is also the first to 50 in the NHL out of all NHL players. As he would get his 50th and 51st goal of the season. It would start off with Sharakovich of the Calgary Flames getting his 13th at 4:32 of the first period. That's the way the period would end, with Calgary up by 1. Victor Arvidsson would tie it. It was a tight game. Victor Arvidsson would tie it, his 11th of the year, from Leon Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse at 16:20. We end the second period, game split 1-1. In the third period, it would be Paco getting his third for Calgary at 7:55 from Nazem Kadri. However, Leon Draisaitl would get his 50th of the year from Darnell Nurse at 16:48. And again, it is his 50th. He is the first out of all NHL players to hit 50 goals this year. So definitely leading contention for the Hart Trophy, I would think. And of course, he would get the overtime winner, assisted by Jeff Skinner, his 51st of the year. Let's play the thing.
The winner in overtime.
Yeah, nothing but good things to say about Leo. I think, I never thought I'd be saying this, but I think he's my favorite Edmonton Oiler now. I really think so. I think McDavid has fallen second now. And that's it's not to say McDavid isn't McDavid, but it's just what I'm seeing out of Leon Draisaitl is very remarkable and impressive. Because he's also doing it without McDavid. We always, thought maybe for a lot of years, I thought maybe he was riding the coattails of McDavid's magic, but he can do it without McDavid too, which is very, very impressive. As far as the stats go in this game, let me cue that up. Shots on goal, 29-28. That just goes to show you how tight of a game it actually was. 29-28 for Edmonton. So slight edge for Edmonton. Hits, 19-18 for Calgary. Again, tight checking game. 57.1%. The Oilers ruled the dot. The power plays, Oilers were granted 1, however, could not score. Penalties, they had to kill off 3 of them and did so very well. Blocked shots, 21-19 for Calgary, 19-12 for giveaways for Edmonton. And a rebound, very good rebound game for Calvin Pickard, as he again took the pipes because of Stuart Skinner being out of the lineup. 26 saves of 28 for a 929 save percentage. So good job to Cal. And trying to cue up that button. Yeah, I tried to cue up that button. It didn't quite come in as quick as I would have liked, but you get the point. Let's move on to the stars of this particular game. As the first star would, oh, not stars, sorry, this is the good numbers, bad numbers. Podkolzin only had one hit. This is very unlike Podkolzin. Usually he'll get 12 to 14 minutes and he'll see him with 5 or 6 hits. For whatever reason, he wasn't the hitting machine that he normally is, and I wonder why that was. Adam Henrique was a -2, not a very good stat for him. Both Nurse and Bouchard over 25 minutes. Now, this is a coaching thing. I don't like it when players are playing 24. Over 24 to me is too much. 25 minutes is ridiculous. Yeah, I think 25 minutes. You add another 5 minutes, that's 30 minutes. They're playing half the game. So no, they you can't burn out your players like that. You gotta balance out the balance out the roster play. You'll get better results that way if your team is fresh every time. So I didn't care for that. As far as the good things go, of course, Leo getting his 50th and 51st. And he also had one assist. No need for me to do the cheer on that. I already did enough times. Darnell Nurse, 5 hits, and Calvin Pickard rebounding with a .929 save percentage. Now we go to the stars of the game, which obviously was Leon Draisaitl getting a point in every play of this game for the Edmonton Oilers. With 2 goals, 1 assist. Braden Pecco, 1 goal, 1 assist, and Victor Arvidsson, 1 goal. So a great evening to round out the week for the Edmonton Oilers. And now that takes us to the standings in the Western Conference. And it's getting close, guys. It's getting very, 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 very close. Now, what we're starting to see, if you take a look at the West standings, you can obviously see Seattle, Nashville, Chicago, and San Jose have checked out already. They're done. Their season is over. They are officially mathematically eliminated, will not play in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. There's only really a battle between 3 teams, but it's a one horse race, if you ask me. I think St. Louis is going to get in. I think Vancouver and Calgary will not. And I think, guys, and you guys are going to hate me for this, but the law of averages, when is LA going to eventually beat Edmonton? They have to at some point in time. And it's winding up to be an Edmonton-LA series, actually almost guaranteeing it. As Vegas has 98, LA has 89. They're already 10 points behind. Edmonton has 9 games left. LA has 10 games left. You would need Vegas to absolutely collapse for the rest of the season and one of us to go on a run and win all of them for that to change. So we are headed for another collision course with the LA Kings. And again, the law of averages, eventually they're going to take a series from us. When is it? I'm fearing it could be this year. Again, after last year, I made a promise to you guys as fans and to myself that I will never doubt the Oilers, but it is in the back of my mind. It really is. It really is in the back of my mind. So there you have it. So if the playoffs were to start today, this is your lineup for all the teams that will be in it. You're going to have the St. Louis Blues, the visitors against the Winnipeg Jets. Minnesota will be visiting the Vegas Golden Knights. Edmonton will be on the road against LA in that first round series, the one that scares me. And then a real treat for a series as the Colorado Avalanche will take on the former Av and Mikko Rantanen, as the Dallas Stars would have home ice against the Avs. And according to playoffstatus.com, the Canucks have a 6% chance of getting in, and the Calgary Flames a 17% chance, which is kind of odd. But Vancouver has one more game in hand. They are 1 point on Calgary, but they have a significant. I guess I would have to look at their schedule. It's probably strength of schedule that they're looking at that count in this, because I was like, that's kind of odd considering they're actually ahead of Calgary in points right now. But it might be the strength of schedule. I don't know why they rated them with a 6% chance, and that was as of 2 a.m. this morning where they came up with that stat. So that's very interesting. But that's how it looks like, and it's as we get deeper into this month and slowly go into April, this is starting to look more solidified of what we're going to be seeing in the playoffs. Okay, so that takes us to the poll question for this week. And let's bring that up. It's already up on my X. If you care to vote, you can just scan that QR code. But will Leon Draisaitl win the Hart Trophy this year for NHL's MVP? I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I was worried that with that injury, if he sits out too long, that Nate McKinnon would surpass him, or Hellebuck. And Hellebuck is still a big factor. The season he's having, he could actually still win that. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins the Hart Trophy, who is the most valuable to their team. And you can really argue Hellebuck is one of the more valuable players in the league to their team too. So it'll be interesting seeing. Scan that QR code for a direct link to my Twitter, or you can just look me up on Twitter, Gene Edwards at lubedhockey.com. And we'll go from there, and I'd like to see a little bit better turnout on that. I've been not getting much of a turnout on it, but try to turn out for it, and we'll display the results once I start getting a better turnout. All right. Let's take a look at the upcoming games, as the Edmonton Oilers are going to be playing 3 games this week. And they will be playing all on the road. They're starting a 4-game road trip, I believe, as they will take on let me just fix that up a little bit. They will take on the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday. That's going to be a tough game. They're going to take on the San Jose Sharks on Thursday, which turns out to always be a tough game. I don't know why. And then the LA Kings. This is going to be a huge one against the LA Kings on Saturday. So it's a pretty big week for the Edmonton Oilers. Let's get into the Vegas Golden Knights and what kind of stats we have to really take into consideration, as the Vegas Golden Knights are first in the league for the power play. The Oilers are now in the top 10 when it comes to the power play. So Oilers power play is coming along. Did I get that right? Power play for the Oilers top 10? Yeah, they're ninth in the league for the power play, which I was kind of surprised that they jumped in there, because their power play hasn't really stood out to me. And then Vegas are 24th in the league when it comes to the penalty kill. Meanwhile, the Oilers are 20th. So both teams struggle on the penalty kill. This is going to be really a character of will for this game. Whoever has the more maybe the more out hitting, out blocking. I think this is going to turn into a block game. Whoever can out block or have better tending, I think that'll be your winner in this particular game. Then the Oilers will take on the San Jose Sharks on Thursday nights. Yes, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. This, in all reasonable circumstances, the Oilers should win this one. However, they tend to struggle against them. They did beat them on December 21st by a count of 3-2. But it's one of those teams. Like last year, it was the team that the Oilers played in November, if you do recall, when Woody got fired. So we'll see. I know they struggle against these teams, and I've said that so many times. They need this one. The Oilers need this one. They can't not let off the pedal. They got to treat this team like a playoff bound team and put the pedal to the metal and play a hard game of hockey. San Jose are 32nd in the league for goals allowed. Okay? 32nd in the league. They aren't very good defensively. Oilers can definitely, definitely get something there with that. They are also 31st in the league with shots on goal allowed. So they just have a very porous defense. We got some good offense, and we need to capitalize with our offense in this game. Edmonton is first in the league for shots on goal. So right there, all indications on paper, there's no chance Oilers should lose. However, we'll see. We will see, because they always seem to shit the bed when it comes to these teams. But anyway, then we go on to what could be the match of the year. And considering that that the Oilers are in as tough as they are and really just fighting for tooth and nail for every point, they will take on the LA Kings on Saturday. I believe that will be a Hockey Night in Canada game, as it will be a huge one. And this could be what we could foresee as yet. This would be the, I believe, 5th time in a row that the Edmonton Oilers, LA Kings will meet in the playoffs. I think the last time the Oilers met a different team was in the play-in round in the COVID era. Remember that? COVID? When they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks and did not even make it to the playoffs. And then after that, I think it's been nothing but LA Kings. And again, I'm just worried about laws and averages, that eventually, at some point in time, even in the early 90s, the Oilers always lost to Dallas. But then there was that one year where Todd Marchant got that overtime winner and eliminated the Dallas Stars. So, law of averages, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm going into this very weary. Let's put it that way. As far as the Kings go, they are second in the league for shots on goal. Goals allowed. The Oilers are 22nd in the league for shooting percentage, despite first in the league for shots on goal. So they can pepper them, but they're not getting results, is what that says. The Kings are 28th in the league for the power play. So that is a good thing, considering our PK is coming around really good. So this could boil down to the Oilers finally getting some puck luck, really, and getting some goals in the net. This is going to be a hard one. This is going to be a tough one, and it's going to be interesting to see what Warren Fogle brings for the LA Kings and what Arvidsson brings for the Oilers, as they basically swapped teams last summer. And we'll see how those players impact their new teams and what they can do for them. And I think that's about all I got for this week as far as that goes. And we will move on here. So we'll go into final thoughts. And it doesn't look like anyone chimed in this week. So I'm just going to go on with what I have programmed for final thoughts. And I was hoping you guys would chime in. Someone would chime in. But I'm going to go with, are the Oilers playoff ready? Now, I'm kind of being a Debbie down here. Last year, there was something special about this Edmonton Oilers team. There was something extremely special about this team. They went on 2 runs of 8, then had that massive, I think it was 16 wins in a row. They nearly tied and surpassed an NHL record that was held by the Pittsburgh Penguins since the 90s. There was just a good feeling about this team. Very good feeling about this team. I don't feel the same vibe this year. I feel there's a lot of questions. Now, that being said, we're going to get Frederic into the lineup. We'll see what he brings. That was the player I couldn't remember earlier. Evander Kane. Connor's going to be back. Hopefully, this rest will also help Skinner get back into it. Skinner's the big question mark. And if he doesn't have a decent playoff year, I could definitely see the Oilers going out into the goalie market and hopefully not screwing it up like they did with, I can't even remember his name, but a few years back. Yeah, I can't even think of his name right now. But anyway, this is Skinner's legacy now of what is going to be for the Edmonton Oilers. If he has a amazing playoff run, he's going to get paid huge first and foremost, because these teams are really overpaying goaltenders for some reason. And it's not just the getting paid, but he's going to really quiet the critics like myself, the critics like the media, and we can maybe go be happy with him going forward. That being said, he still has a lot to prove. So I'm going into this playoff year a little worried. I'm going to be honest with you. A little bit worried that the channel will end shortly. Hopefully not too shortly, but we'll see. I mean, the window on Connor and Leon is starting to, we got Leon signed, but if they go out, so here's another hypothetical. If they go out in the first round, say they have just an absolute shit playoffs, and they're out in 5 games or 6 games, or even a sweep, which I can't see that happening, but will McDavid sign again? Or will he say, you know what, it's time for me to try it somewhere else? That'll be another tough question too. We all want Connor to stay as an Edmonton Oiler. We know he had a bit of a, let's be honest, a bit of a down year this year. But I definitely want him to stay. I think he wants to stay with Leo and Darnell, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for this week. We will see you next week for the first episode of April. Once again, brand new rig report coming next week. Until then, you guys have a fabulous week. Guys, I know it's -1 in Edmonton. I just checked the weather beforehand, so I'm sorry to say that, but I'm going to sit out in the sun and have a nice beer. Have a good one.